Welcome, everybody. Today is November 2nd, 2017, and this is Probate Mastermind call number 150. And my name is Chad Corbett. We got my partner, Tim Yandel, and Tom Ownby also on the call. And we're hosting today from the Blackstone Hotel in Chicago. We're up here for the National Association of Realtors Convention. So if you guys are in Chicago or plan to be, stop by. We're at booth number 1646, and we'll be here through, I guess, Monday. So if you get a chance, it's always nice to meet you guys. I was in Dallas last week for the Exit Realty Convention and got to meet, probably a dozen of our subscribers. And got to hear some of the success stories and some of the admissions that, well, I haven't done anything yet. And but it's always cool to meet our folks in person. We kind of run a virtual business. So if you're up here, booth number 1646, we'd love to put a face to a name. I'll start with kind of the training from my wheelhouse. So yesterday we did the November probate role play call. Actually, it was a really good call. I know that we had some confusion with time. I did have to back it up an hour because of my travel schedule. I did send emails out, but some people had it in their calendar for the 2 o'clock. So if you're one of those people, I apologize. You can always find any call that we do by looking on the left-hand side of your subscriber portal. Click on conference call and then click the blue button for access call archive, and the calls are posted there. The other place is you can always go to our Facebook group, All the Leads Mastermind, and we archive the calls there as well. So if you didn't have a chance to get the role play call, I actually didn't get it posted yesterday. I hope to get it posted this afternoon, but it should be up by the end of today with this call. And we're in the middle of probate mastery. Again, because of travel schedules, I had to do the October class at the end of October, the beginning of November. So probate mastery will wrap up this week, but I will do another class in November. Very likely it's going to be the last week of November just because of travel and Thanksgiving and everything. So November probate mastery will likely be the last week unless I can find some time on the road with consistent internet otherwise. So that's all I got. Timothy?
So the only thing I was going to say is that, in our constant effort to kind of improve our game and do some of the things that we need to do to stay on top of things, we spent the day yesterday with the U.S. Postal Service working on some creative programs that we're going to be offering in the next year. And I think you're going to be excited about some of the things we're putting together. We've been working with them on Every Door Direct Mail, which some of you may use. Also some packages that you can use on listing appointments and things like that. And they had some cool ideas, and we are a Postal Service partner, and so we're able to take advantage of some of the programs that they have, and we'll be talking some more about that. But we continue to engage with them to grow our relationship with them and do that. So we'll keep you posted on that. That's about all I have. The only other thing I do, once again, is repeat *6 and 1 and hop in the queue. We've got folks waiting, but we always want to talk to as many people as we can, and no questions off limits, so fire away whenever you want. And with that, Tom, I'll kick it to you. You have anything you'd like to add?
I just always like to remind everybody, if they need anything, we're here to help. One of the fastest ways, just send us an email at support@alltheleads.com, or if you're in your portal area, just hit contact us and just be a little specific on what you're looking for. We track those items and assign them to the appropriate people to get back to you in a very timely manner. Also, if a lot of you new people are on, I've had an opportunity to meet a lot of you. I do a orientation session at the beginning when people sign up, and I've really enjoyed that, and I thank you for your time. And if I haven't talked to you yet, I will probably be doing that soon. Have a great day.
Okay, good enough. Well, we've got a couple of folks in the queue already, and Chad, I think we'll go ahead and take those, and in the interest of time, I'll just again repeat *6 and 1, and we'll be happy to talk with you. Our first caller, the last 4 numbers of your phone number ends in 6515. You're up.
Hi, this is Rick from Venice, Florida. How are you gentlemen doing?
Great.
Hi, Rick. Doing well.
Good. Well, first of all, I had a good week. I had 2 good leads, $1 million bayfront and a $200 lakefront. So
nice.
So
$200? Did you say it?
$200,000. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. That's much. I was wondering where the swamp was.
It's the lake beside the power plant.
Exactly.
That sounds like the lake in my backyard filled with alligators.
Oh my gosh, we got enough of those for sure.
So, were these leads or were these appointments?
These were leads. I'm trying to get my appointment. Looks like the Bayfront will probably be in about 2 weeks. And the $200,000 one will probably be as soon as his daughter and him figure out what they're doing. So, and
tell me
and
more
if
about that.
Really, yeah. Well, he's in a wheelchair.
Okay.
With a nerve. I don't know how to pronounce it. He's losing his feet, touch and nerves in his hands and feet. So he can't. Of course, he can't move furniture out, and that's what he really liked about my call and the letter was that we offer that clean out service and also any repairs that he might need to put it up on the market. So
where's he moving to, Rick?
Not quite sure. Probably to assisted living, the way it sounds.
Okay.
So hopefully his daughter will not be staying there, but I've had a few of those also this week. So my question was, how many times do we follow up with them when they say they're not selling? Do we do it 2 times, 5 times before we delete them?
No, are we talking about all of the ones but the 2 you referenced?
Exactly. Mhm.
It kind of depends on the tone and whether you believe them or not, I suppose. If you think that they're just trying to rush off the phone because you got them out of their comfort zone, you can always say something like, okay, well, listen, actually a lot of our clients that we've worked with in the past have said that in the beginning because they were just overwhelmed. By the way, if you don't sell it, we can help you do a rental analysis and get you set up with a professional rental manager so that you don't walk into the nightmares that a lot of the people we've helped have. Is that something that, if you're not selling, do you guys plan on transitioning this to a rental property, or will somebody from the family be moving into it? And
sure.
If they don't have an answer, they're probably bullshitting you. And
Mm-hmm.
that just simply tells you that, okay, they don't trust me yet. So I would put them on a follow-up list. Like if they say they're not selling, but they don't have an alternative plan, then they just don't trust you enough to tell you their business yet. And it's your job to earn their trust, right? So I might call back and I would look for anything possible to find a way to give them value. One of the things that have been brought up often, we talked about it yesterday on the role play call, is vacant insurance. So if you find out the house is vacant, then you know that they have a 30-day window before the standard homeowner policy doesn't cover that asset anymore. So you can kind of shock them by showing that there's things that you can do right now to protect them, even if they're not selling immediately. You're not just looking for commission. You're looking for people to help, and commissions always follow that. So try to ask better questions and learn more about their situation and their plans. Oh, Rick, we're not selling. Okay, well, listen, we help a lot of folks that aren't selling too. We actually have a property management division. We even have senior moving companies to help your family get moved out and new members moved in. So what do you guys plan to do with the property? And just keep the conversation rolling with good questions. And as you learn more about their situation and their goals, then find ways to layer in value. Same thing with the 2 that you're working on. I would go back, if I were you, my next phone call to the gentleman in the wheelchair would be, I would find a moving company. First, I would find out where he wants to live. Maybe you call back and say, listen, I thought about this, and it's not something we typically do, but I think I can help you out. We've got a lot of great retirement communities around, and if you could just kind of tell me a little bit about what you're looking for. I know some folks in the industry. Maybe I can help you find a place. And like how much quicker is he going to move if you help him find suitable living, you line up a moving company that fits his needs, and you can sell the home for the most amount of money to help him pay for that retirement. You think he'll be ready to list now, or 2 weeks or 2 months from now?
Mhm. good.
So just always
Good.
be looking for those layers of value that you can find. Every time they answer a question, think of your next one and okay, who can I bring in to help that person reach that goal?
Perfect. What do we have to do to be part of the role play calls? Is that part of the
it's we include it with your subscription. So you call this number, but on the first Wednesday of every month, and it's normally at 2 p.m. Eastern. But because I was traveling and setting up for this show, I had to back it up. So we did it at 1 p.m. Eastern yesterday.
first Wednesday of each month at 2? Okay, great.
And if you look on the left, if you click conference calls, the schedule and the dial-in number is there for both this call and the role play call. So, and I think I even have an add it to your calendar button right there.
I see it now. Yeah, fantastic. All right, as always, you guys are great.
Yeah, thanks so much, Rick. Go get those 2 listings and come back next week.
I will.
Tim, who we got? Anybody in the queue?
Yep,
Star
we'll
6,
take our next caller.
then,
Go ahead, bud.
I was just going to say, for anybody who has a question, anything you want to share, star 6 and then 1 to get in the queue.
Our next caller ends in 1663. Go ahead.
Hey guys, Jim Lasowski. I'm in Bend, Oregon. Brand new to the program. I did get a list last month. I just didn't have time to get to it. So I got the list yesterday and looking everything over. My question for you, as I'm calling, and forgive me, I pulled away from the list for a second and I'm trying to pull it up again so I can give you my question. As I'm going through them, the person you're reaching out to is the like the contact for the deceased. I mean, I've got quite a few here, and I'm just looking at my as I pick up one here. There's a personal representative and deceased information. Obviously, I'm not calling the deceased person, but is there? I was looking for a script, as far as reaching out in this sensitive scenario, and
so best thing that you can do is back up to the beginning of Fast Track. I'm assuming you haven't done the Fast Track training, right?
I mean, is it going through? And I'm looking over here on the left. Is that just going through? I have not.
Okay.
Is that
if
all
you click
video
on Fast
based?
Track, it's going to take you through 3 videos. It's only 38 minutes combined end to end. That will answer 99% of your questions, I'm sure.
Okay.
But yes, you're going to be reaching out to the personal representative, and we don't necessarily have a script. We have more of a conversation framework. And at the end of video number 3, you'll be able to download that. It's called the Probate Seller Interview Sheet.
Okay.
The reason we don't have scripts is because there are a million different ways these conversations can go, and because we're providing such a variety of options, it's almost impossible to script. So what you want to focus on as you're listening to that and going through, the second thing I would recommend after Fast Tracks is go over to the left, click on conference calls, call archive, and then listen to a few role play calls. And that'll help you kind of, generate your own good questions and your own language, and kind of, the probate seller interview sheet will kind of tell you what information you need and in what order. And then the role play calls will help you turn that into your own language, so you can come up with your own good questions.
And I haven't gone through, I mean, I literally just kind of jumped on this because the email, and I apologize for not going through the Fast Track, but curiosity question, the first one, I'm in Oregon, but this first one, the representative is in California, the deceased is in California, but the attorney happens to be in Bend. Is that why I received the lead, or is there a chance
you received the lead because that was where their residence was? So even though their last known address was California, they have assets or debt or both in Bend, Oregon. So
fair enough.
You file probate in your place of residence. So they could have, they could have been living with a son or daughter and passed away, but everything they own is still in Bend. In that case, you're even more valuable to the family in California because they're not in Oregon, so you can be of a real help to them.
Okay, so and then you're reaching out to the representatives, not the attorneys on these cases.
We do both. So think of the personal representatives as a marketing campaign, and think of the attorneys as a referral network. It's kind of two-pronged.
Yep.
So
Okay.
you definitely want to send mail and make phone calls to the personal rep, but you want to build a relationship and help the attorneys understand there's somebody in your town that has a team of people specifically designed to help their clients and make their life easy. And usually face-to-face is the best way to do that. Identify the attorneys in your market that have the most each month and go introduce yourself. Let them know, listen, we have a team here locally, and we've designed our whole service around making probate more efficient and easier for the personal rep, and that in turn just makes your life easier. So I just wanted to introduce myself and let you know we're here. Any deals you could use some help on right now?
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for stepping up. Who's next?
Okay, the next person in our list ends in 1189. You're up. Belinda?
Yes. Sorry, I had to speak. Okay, I had a quick question. I have a couple of cases where you have the PRs want to sell the property, and they actually are on the deed, but they have family members who are actually living in the property and have been living for free and are very reluctant, let's say, to move out and support the process of selling it. And in those cases, do you have any suggestions? I mean, I know that people typically, they're not in a position of being like a landlord-tenant, so an eviction would not be the answer necessarily. And then people don't necessarily want to have, legal input into the family, in the family dynamic. And what I've done is to kind of step back from that because I don't want to get involved in people's family dynamic. And then sometimes it's even a case of mental health issues as well. But do you all have any kind of suggestions, recommendations, or have you had that issue before? You can shed a little light, a little advice.
You're like a magnet for these complicated scenarios.
I know.
you always come up with these. So can you clarify for me, the occupant of the real estate is or is not an heir to the estate?
They are an heir in that they are due some of the proceeds once it's sold, if it's sold, but they are not one of the heirs that are actually on the deed. So we have, for example, one of the cases is we have a family of about 4 to 6 siblings, and there's 4 siblings. 2 of the siblings are actually on the deed as well. Okay, the mother passed, so then they have the right to go ahead and sell it as owners. But then, of course, the proceeds are divided up amongst all 4. One of the 4 that is not on the deed has a touch of mental illness. She's been living there for free and does not want to move necessarily. But the other 2 on the deed want her out, and then they can sell it.
Okay. So you have 2 avenues here, and I'm not an attorney, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express once.
Right.
I think that because the occupant doesn't have an equitable interest in the property, then you actually can file for an unlawful detainer and go through the eviction process. I don't think that's the right way to go. If you have somebody with a mental illness, you're very likely to create a homeless person if you do that, and that's not right. What I think is the better way is, like, what condition is the home in, and who do you think the ideal buyer is for it?
Oh, it's definitely retail buyer. I mean, somebody can just move their stuff out and buff the floors, wipe the countertops off, and move in. And the person that has the mental illness has a daughter that she could potentially, live with, I guess, temporarily. So it's not like they push her out and she'd be under a bridge. There are some resources she may have in terms of a daughter she may be able to live with, but she doesn't have very much income, though.
Okay, how much, if the house were sold, how much money would the occupant get in the disbursement?
Well, it's just about maybe $240. So I would say maybe, I don't know. I think it's free and clear. So I don't know how many other expenses are against the estate, but say about.
Let's call it a net of $200,000. How many heirs are there?
There's 4, so I would say about $40,000. Let's say 40 per person.
Okay, so let's say her piece of this pie is $40,000, and you've got 4 heirs, 3 want to sell and 1 doesn't, because she doesn't want to be homeless, and that's reasonable. So why don't you go to the other 3?
Start having to pay rent is the issue, but go ahead.
So why don't we go to the other 3 heirs and say, all right, guys, I think I have a plan. We can connect her with service A, B, or C, whatever services you were referencing, to help her find suitable housing. And you know she's going to have $40,000 in rent money. And if you can get her, a HUD voucher or whatever. I know in my market we have independent mental health providers. They provide housing with HUD vouchers. So like Blue Ridge Behavioral Health Care will give you, an $800 HUD voucher if you're, part of their mental health services. And that then
so she would have to actually admit that she has a mental health issue and then enroll in their program.
If you're going to do something like that, she could still on low income alone, you can qualify for HUD housing. You just have to get her to the local housing authority and have her fill out an application so she can get to be part of that program.
Okay. Are you talking about Section 8 by any chance?
I'm sorry?
Are you talking about Section 8 by any chance?
Yeah, that's HUD, Section 8.
Yeah, okay.
But what is her age? Do you know?
Oh, yeah, she's a senior, so she's like 60 something.
Okay, so
she would qualify.
So there are really nice Section 8 housing developments for seniors, and they're 65 and older, and in my market, they're nothing like the regular HUD housing. They're actually really nice places to live, and they're $500-600 a month, where it would normally cost that person $1,200. So typically, you can typically cover 100% of their rent, and I've helped get people into these facilities. So what I would say is, your first step is get with the family, the 3 that want to sell, and say, okay, guys, we know that we've got $200,000 in equity here on the table. In order to get that, I have a plan. If you guys can just contribute, X number of dollars, then we can go to your sister. We can offer her that money. As the day that she moves into her new housing, she gets a check, and you basically are pre-funding her disbursement through the other 3. So everybody gets what they want. She gets some money to make sure she's got a safety net. She gets suitable housing. You get the house on the market. The family gets the access to the equity, and maybe even you give her a premium on her back end equity payment if she doesn't have an income. Maybe they cut her in for an extra $10,000 or an extra $20,000. But put her in a position where she's comfortable, she feels secure, and back it up, like find her a place to live, and then get the other 3 to ante up and prepay her disbursement so she sees that money, and maybe even give her a little bit more of the equity to get what they want. And that's the best way to do it if everybody will cooperate.
Okay, that's good. That's just really good. Okay. I'll do that because we're supposed
the other
to
way,
sign paperwork.
But the other suggestion I would have, and the reason I asked about the property condition, if you thought the ideal buyer was an investor, then I would just bring the money. I would say have your investor show up with $2,000 cash and show it to her, like physically hold the cash in front of her,
thing.
and say, if you can be out by next Friday, this is your $2,000.
Right,
and
cash for keys.
I'll give you $1,000 right now to hire the movers, and I'll give you $1,000 next Friday when I give you the keys to your new apartment or whatever it is. But that's the other way. That
may work for that other one. The other one, because in the case the person is a young person that just doesn't want to do. So something like that, a teaser, I think would be that might work for that person. And then one other thing, along the same lines of this case, I had called my contact back, the PR back, and she says the attorney wants to see all paperwork before they sign anything, and that includes the listing agreement. So I was like, I don't know what that has to do with him seeing the listing agreement, but of course I told her, oh sure, I can send everything to him. You all can look at it, review it, and that kind of stuff. Do you typically run into anything to those types of cases where, the attorney wants to have his hand even in the listing agreement and everything?
I never have, but I think it's a great opportunity for you.
Yeah, I thought about it too. If I really work it well,
I would say, I like to do business in person. When should I stop by? And sit down in front of them and say, I'm serious. I'm dead serious. So I'm
No,
really
that's
glad you
good.
called because I was actually going to call you to make sure that I had any if there was any language you needed to see in the listing agreement, and empower him or her and make them feel even more important. Like, you were on my call list. I'm really glad you reached out first. You're on the ball.
Okay. Well,
And
they haven't
sit
given me a
down with
number to
them.
contact them, but I'm going to email it. Then I can frame that in the email. And yeah, I actually looked at it as maybe an opportunity if I work it well. Then on the back side to come back and look, that's good to do it on the front side. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All righty. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for always bringing the hard ones.
Okay.
You do a good job. You just keep us on our toes, Belinda.
Yeah, I get plenty of them. Oh, one other thing too. From some of my lists that I've had as early as say back in February, I've been calling, get no contact with people. I wonder how long do you all follow up when you really just not getting any contact? You've left, numerous voicemails. Do you like maybe a month, 2 months, 3 months, and just figure, or do you periodically maybe stop back through at 6 months, or just scrap them? And the reason I ask that is because it gets to be a bit labor intensive and kind of a drain, at least for me personally, to constantly be dealing with those same leads. I'm like, look, let's just throw them leads out of the basket. Let's get the fresh ones in and keep it going with the fresh ones. So what's your take?
I think the answer is probably there's no one right answer. I mean, we know that the more we touch any lead type, the more likely we are to do business. So I think you've got to look at what your tolerance is and what your bandwidth is, and make that decision. I mean, at a very minimum, we recommend stick with them for 3 months and follow 3 letters with 3 phone calls. If you stick with them for 12 months, you're going to do more deals, I promise. I had a ton of people who called me a year or up to even 2 years from the time they received my last letter. Now, I wasn't even as diligent as you are in making my phone calls, but I still got that business because I was sent the mail. So I would say call until you hit your tolerance level and then move on is really the right answer, but make sure you're touching them at least 3 letters and 3 phone calls. That's 6 touches. Your best chance
I figured what I would do is, once I reach that tolerance level, send them one last letter. Just ask them to, to keep that letter with the important papers so that, when they do come around, if they come around, that letter will be kind of like on the top. So,
yeah.
And I said I would do
That's
it that way.
idea.
But yeah. Okay. All right then. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Thanks, Belinda.
Sure.
All right. Good job on that one. Next one is ending in 0883. You're up.
What's going on, guys? This is Jim Forsyth in Memphis.
Hey, bud.
Thanks. Good news to start with. Working with my first client this weekend, and I'm going to show her condo just to get her out and see what she might find, and then going to be taking investors into her home next week. Hopefully list the house this weekend. So that's the good news. I get to work with my first probate lead. And then I got a question for you on 2 others. And since you got the expert there with Chad, don't have to give him a call on the side. The first one, the lady is just overwhelmed with the fact that her husband died 2 years ago, but she's still got a towing company to sell. And now I'm having trouble getting back both of the people I'm having trouble getting back in touch with. What ways do you have besides just continuing to call? You don't want to call them so much that they don't want to talk to you. So where's the happy medium?
And now, is this specifically for that lady, the one that you can't get back in touch with?
I've got 2 that are. One is the lady with the towing company, and I've got a solution for her. I've got someone to buy her house probably and rent it back to her. But she's just so overwhelmed. She's never had to make any decisions before, and so she's having a hard time doing that. Now I'm also having a hard time getting in touch with her. The other lady lives out of town, and what I thought was coming in town, and she's got 2 properties to sell, and she's ready to go, but I can't get back in touch with her. She's not answering her. She told me she's bad about not answering her calls. And,
have you texted her?
I feel sure that I have. So I'll go back. I will send her a text. And the other thing,
I mean,
I have talked with the attorney on the second one. Should I
Mhm.
go back and try to reach the attorney again and have her to get in touch with me? Have her to get the lady to get in touch with me?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I would
Okay.
try that too. I would say, listen, I've got something I need to discuss with Miss Smith about the estate. I think she's going to be excited to learn what I found out. Could you tell her to give me a shout next time you hear from her?
Yeah.
And on the
I'll
first
give
one,
her.
I would look for the door to your office and go to that whatever you have with 4 wheels and get your butt over there. I mean, she's in town and you've got a solution, and she's in probate quicksand. So
Okay.
if you need to knock on her door and apply a little bit of pressure to help her through this, I think that's absolutely reasonable.
Well, the thing is, I was there 2 days ago in that same subdivision, and I drove by the house. And I thought, well, that might be too much pressure. But you say no, go ahead and see her. I can do that.
I think so. I mean, like I mean, what you have to discuss is very valuable to her, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So she's better off answering the door with you standing there than not answering the door at all, right?
Correct. Okay. Well, I'll go by and see her, and then I'll give the attorney a call, and I'll give this other lady a couple more calls and a text.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Appreciate it, guys. Y'all have a great weekend.
All right, bud. Well, we appreciate you. And the next person in line is 4990.
Yes, hi. This is Lance Young from Arlington, Virginia. I was calling because I spoke with someone over at ATL recently that recommended Voice Logic if you have a large list of phone numbers to call.
Okay.
Do you guys recommend that?
So we've used in the past, Voice Logic has a program called Voice Casting, and the gentleman to speak to would be Steve Lindo, and there you can call the if you Google Voice Casting and then call that main number, and Steve could help you. He can answer any questions you have and help you get set up if you want to do that.
Okay. Now, is voice casting the one where if let's just say I have a list of 100 numbers, it bypasses the ringtone and it goes straight to voicemail and leaves your message? Is that what that is?
Yeah. Yep. So
do you guys have any kind of pardon?
You just have a pre-recorded message that drops to everybody.
Right. Do you have any kind of outline for what to say on that pre-recorded message? Something that you've used that's been successful?
We do. It's in step 3 of Fast Track. After the video finishes, it pops up as one of the downloads. And it's just simply, hey, this is Chad. I sent you a letter. I had a few minutes in the office. I was calling to make sure you got it and you understood why I sent it. Give me a call when you have a chance. And just really simple.
Okay.
Don't identify yourself as a realtor or an investor or anything else. Just use your name and say, I sent you a letter. Wanted to make sure you got it and you understood why I sent it. And leave your phone number and jump off. And that's been the best for me to get callbacks. When I used voice casting, I would usually get about a 2% callback rate. So if I drop 100 voicemails, and what I did, I would drop to all 4 numbers. But if I dropped voicemail to 100 leads, I would usually get 2 phone calls.
Okay, now you mentioned all 4 numbers.
I copied and pasted everything into one column and dropped to all 4 numbers. So I'm sure there's cases where I'm leaving the same voicemail for on 4 different phones for the same person.
Okay.
But it worked for me. And that's what I did. You can split it into 4 different campaigns and drop it to phone number 1, then go back and do number 2 and number 3 if you want. But in the interest of automation, I lumped them all into one column and pulled the trigger. And usually if I would drop 100, I would end up with 2 pretty much some list me calls.
Okay, yeah, that sure is worth it.
Yeah.
So could you run past that again? So you said, hey, this is Chad, sent you a letter, wanted to make sure you got it, and...
Hi, this is Chad. I sent you a letter last week, and I had a couple of minutes in the office, so I just wanted to follow up, make sure you got the letter and you understood why I sent it. Give me a call when you have a chance.
Okay.
8675301.
Okay. All right. Thanks very much, fellas.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
All right, good one. We have another caller ending in 6515. You're up. 6515.
I already spoke to you folks.
Oh, all right. It popped up again, so we'll take you back off, and we'll get to caller ending in 9700.
Hey, you know what? I just had a quick question about that voice casting that you just were talking about.
Okay, shoot.
Okay, I'm sorry. My phone went blank for a second. Now, does that go only to cell phone numbers? Like, I've used Sly Broadcast, and that doesn't go to house phones.
It's a little different. Anything that's on a server-based voicemail, so it will go to a house phone. If they won't go to an answering machine, but if they have like a server-based voicemail, it does deliver to those. That's a benefit over Sly Broadcast.
Okay, gotcha. And you said that you had a lot of success with that. I did my first month. I did it, and I got no returns, and I probably called like 60 people. I left voicemails, right to that way. Do you think that way is a better way to do it than calling each person individually? Obviously, it's better utilization of your time, but not if you're not getting any return calls.
Yeah, I mean, the best approach is to if you in the fast track training, I referenced an MIT study, and the best thing you can do is call during those times, which is 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. And if you're doing that, like most people who do that in track that make live calls get almost a 2-to-1 contact rate. And they have a lot more conversations than I had. I was talking to 2 people out of 100. And if you're making live calls, you're going to talk to a heck of a lot more people than 2 out of 100.
Right.
So I think
why did you go that route? Did you go that route because, you were doing other things and you just didn't have time, or?
Yeah, at that point I had 3 companies and I was spread. So, I was flipping houses and running a real estate team and building this business and writing mortgages. I had too much. I was just spread too thin. So it was all I had the bandwidth for. We've had a lot of customers do a lot better than me, and mainly because they made their phone calls.
Okay, gotcha. All right, well, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the question.
All right. I do not believe we have anybody else in the queue right now. *6 and 1. And if you have a question that you'd like to run by us, we're happy to take it. We have time to continue to do more, and we're going to give you a last chance at doing that. Otherwise, we'll keep it kind of short today and let Chad get back to getting ready for the NAR meeting. *61. I'm watching the queue. If you've got a question, now's your time. Otherwise, we're going to call it a day. Yep, we do have another one. Let's see, I'm getting as good as Jim is at begging for this. Last 4 digits, 7756. You're up.
Yes. I was wondering about you were saying about the fast track and the program. I'm not in the program. I was just curious about you were saying, so then once you joined, you would get a video on helping make the calls, and you said a framework for conversation and stuff to get you going?
Yeah, so what we have is as soon as you sign up, you'll have access to our subscriber portal. And in there we have the probate fast track training, which is 3 different modules, about 38 minutes of content. That will put you ahead of probably 99% of realtors in the country as far as understanding this space and how to work in it. In addition to that, we have 300 to 400 hours of archived mastermind calls, role play calls, We have a video series called Tips from the Trainer that will help you with things like how to build an attorney network, how to find cash buyers, lots of different things like that. So there's a ton of resources once you get in there that you don't see now because it's behind the password. But you've got about everything you could possibly need to be successful. And
that's included in the. That's included. Pardon me. That's included in the money that you pay for the probate phone numbers. That's all included, or is that extra?
It is. So no. That's everything included. Now the only thing ancillary that we have, if you'd like to do a WordPress website, we do custom websites for you. If you use we have a mailing service. All the letters and everything are free. You have access to those. But if you want to use our mailing service, we do those at just a flat $1.50 for a greeting card envelope, handwritten font, 5 first-class stamp. And then if you want to do additional training, we have a course called Probate Mastery that we do in a group format once a month, and it's about 6 to 7 hours of content. Basically, I teach you everything I've learned as a realtor, investor, and a coach over the last, several years of working with thousands of agents, and that's $250 for the advanced training. But you don't have to do any of that stuff. The cost that you were quoted for your leads will include all of the training, the letters, access to all the call archives that we discussed. All that's part of the value we provide with your leads.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the important thing to remember is that we're not just a lead company. We offer a system, and the system is really what makes this work. It's not just there's lots of places that can sell you leads, but we've created a system. We do a really, really good job of making sure we get you as accurate as possible data to contact the personal representative and the attorney wherever possible. We get you great phone numbers, and then we've provided you with all the tools necessary to go out and get these people. And in addition to that, we offer every possible method of training we can think of to help you guys be really successful at doing this. So we are a systems-oriented company, and we're here to serve your needs. *61, folks. This is going to be a going, gone. We don't have anybody sitting in the queue right now. And if you have a question or you want to say anything at all, this is your last opportunity to do it for today. *61. And again, I got another victim. Hang on one second. And this would be caller ending in 9700. Nope. Yes?
No, I just got this, but I've already talked to you guys.
All right, let's try this again. I'll get this right in a minute. 6878. Let's try that.
Hey, how you doing?
Great.
Good. How are you?
Great. Yes, my name is actually Jimmy, and I just started your webinar, and my question is this: how often do you actually reach out to the attorneys?
Well, I mean, the most effective way is to, introduce yourself in person. So assuming you meet with them, I would try to you want to keep in touch as often as possible and find ways to provide value to them. Are you a realtor or an investor or a combination of
Investor.
both?
Basically,
Okay.
let me tell you, I'm just wholesaling.
You're wholesaling?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I noticed mainly all my deals would actually come from probate. I'm like, wow.
Okay. Are you working with? Do you have private money on deck? Like, can you back up?
Yes.
If you have
Yes,
to
I
close
do.
on a deal?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I just actually did 3 deals with an attorney in Miami.
Nice. Okay. Well, great. Well, there's a great story to open the conversation. So, your value to an attorney is a quick closing when somebody needs it. So when you're meeting with the attorneys, tell the story of those last 3 deals, and say, they were such good deals. I felt like I should introduce myself and let you know that I'm here if any of your clients ever need a quick closing, or I can close on their terms. I have X number of dollars on hand. Just wanted to introduce myself and let you know. I'll leave a card with you, and can I get one of yours? And I would send, as you meet those people, I would put them into a list and drop an email once a month. Hey, what do you got? Don't forget, I've got $7 million that I need to spend each month. what kind of deals are you seeing? And just stay front of mind with them. Let them know that you really have money on deck, because, you know, keep in mind there's a lot of guys that are wasting their time because they're trying to wholesale with no money. And even if you're trying to wholesale, if you've got private money on deck, they'll take you serious. And
Gotcha.
you know, and your track record. Remember, I'm the guy that was in your office that did 3 deals with attorney John Doe, and I got $7 million burning a hole in my pocket. Who do you know?
Gotcha.
But I would touch base with them every month, and just make it part of your normal marketing routine. And they'll pitch you bankrupt. They'll have bankruptcies. They'll have divorces. They'll have probates.
And oh man, that's amazing, because I actually set it up like that as well. My portfolio, and I said, okay, this is how I'm actually keep track with them monthly, every month.
Yep. You use MailChimp?
Okay. Yes, I use MailChimp.
So I would just build an attorney list in MailChimp, and you can just set them up on a drip and make it 12 months long, or make it 36 months long, and just every month have it fire off just a plain text email. Don't do anything in a template, because then it won't look personal, but just do it in a plain text email, and set up a campaign automation and let it run for the next 3 years. Every time you meet an attorney, you add his email to the list, and he hears from you at least once a month by email. But I would also call them every once in a while too.
Yes, that's what I'm actually doing right now, giving them a call.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Set up. Okay, that's nice. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. I just wanted to hear that, because I notice every time probators keep calling me, I'm like, man, I'm making more money off of probate. Why I'm keep taking all these other crazy deals?
So are you marketing to the PRs, the personal reps too? Are you a subscriber of ours?
You know, I actually switched it around to the point I said, okay, the PR's not really making good success for me. I realized the probate attorneys I'm really marketing to, and I'm doing the offers through them.
Okay. So were you gathering the data on your own, or using our system?
I was gathering the data on my own.
So you were relying on direct mail like every other investor, and you weren't making your phone calls, right?
I don't do no direct mail. I was skip tracing.
So you were making the calls?
Yes, I make the calls to the PRs, and once they tell me yes, then I get involved with the attorney.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't give up on them. Most of a lot of the wholesale deals will come from the personal representatives. You know, attorneys are less likely to refer to real estate agents than they are to have a buddy who has money burning a hole in his pocket. So you can definitely get deals, wholesale deals from attorneys, but you can get more wholesale deals from the personal representatives, because they probably don't know a cash buyer that they can hand it to, and the attorney probably does. For whatever reason, attorneys are really hesitant to refer to agents, but they usually have cash buyers that are knocking their doors down. So you're probably going to have less competition working with the PRs. And if probate has treated you so well, I would recommend that you double down, market to both the personal reps and the attorneys, so you can get the most out of the campaign.
Gotcha. Makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I appreciate it. That makes a lot of sense.
Question,
okay. Thank you.
All right, very good. I believe we have one more, and I want to make sure that we didn't already get to this. Ending in 5959.
Hi.
Joe?
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can. Go right ahead.
Okay. I'm absolutely new to you. Not new to what you're doing, I don't think. I spoke with Jim, and I thought he's really credible. And I had a couple of questions he suggested I get on this call. And my question, two of them are, now that I've had a chance to listen, from your subscriber base, is there what's your mix of realtors versus investors?
Probably 98% realtors, 2% investors.
Okay.
Or something like that. I mean, the system is more designed for conventional real estate because no one's ever really taught that. Usually the investors that we do have, and it's more than 2%, but the investors that we do have, they have their own system. They've been taught by somebody. They've been doing this for years. They would just rather pay us to gather their data and get them good phone numbers than go do it on their own or have to hire a new VA every 2 weeks after they quit. But the system is really designed to help realtors really and like investors. What we kind of cross train. So if we have a realtor, we definitely want you to work with an investor. And if you're an investor, we want you to have a great realtor, because that way we can provide the most impact and the most value to the families going through this, but we can also monetize almost every conversation, right? So the system is designed more to train realtors because they needed more training. Like it's less people are familiar with this space in the conventional real estate world. But we believe that every investor and realtor should be working together. There shouldn't be a divide there, but unfortunately there is. So we try to, cross train.
No, I get it. So I mean, I think that the optimum position is that, and I've listened to you, and you have a really good background for this, obviously. So what you're trying to do is provide a suite of services or avenues that help people with this profile.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, and I listened again to how you go about it, and I think you have a pretty good mindset and ethical approach. So on just a purely business question, let's just say that I've been in real estate for a while, so I should be able to handle that portion of it. And I'm just kind of looking at this business, and I'm intrigued, which. If I was to try to do this, and I very much am interested in doing that, and I think no matter what I think now, I'm going to have to get a little do a little. I got to start my system before I hone it. How long does it take, you think, if somebody could put all the pieces that you have in front of them, which I think are all good, to kind of scale this up? As one guy,
out of one county into multiple counties, or multiple?
Yeah, out of one county, because the county that I'm in is huge. In fact, you're sitting in it right now.
Oh, okay. In Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have the biggest county in the country. Actually, we have more probate leads here than we do any other county.
I know. I talked to Jim.
Yeah.
And I like Jim because I think he's a square shooter, and I've kind of been through a number of things. I used to own a real estate company, and I've been with investors, and so I've got a kind of it's not my first lap around the track, but right. I have also found that you want to associate with good people. It just makes your life better, and sometimes.
To get to your question, I have to run real quick because I have probate mastery coming up in 4 minutes, but right. I do want to answer you. So the cash conversion cycle on these leads, if you're working just as a realtor, is not, it's shorter than most. Like it's certainly shorter than like a house value lead or something. It's usually inside of 90 days, you'll be putting commission checks in the bank. So if you're basing scalability on profitability, probably look at this and in a 3-month period you should see a solid ROI, and then you can scale from there. As far as so that's what I can say. I would say in the first 90 days you can make money with this campaign. In the first week, based on our training systems, you should be confidently competent at doing this and proud of the offer that you have for the people, so you can start marketing. So you could have dollar productive activity within 3 days, and you can have revenue within 3 months.
That's a fair answer, and it also is exactly what Jim told me.
Good.
Well, it is good.
We're on the same page.
That's a good thing to know when you start with something. So I appreciate your time, and I hope the show is good for you.
I'm in booth 1646. Come see us.
All righty.
All right. Guys,
we're at the end of the game here, bud. Go get them.
All right, well, wait. We got to do the Sullivan closing.
I said, go get them. That's what I meant. I knew you
Great
wanted to do
agents
it.
from around the country, take one thing you heard here today, one thing that inspired you, go put it into action, and come back next week with a success story. Thanks so much for taking an hour out of your day, guys, and for always being part of what we do here. Have a great day.